Good afternoon. It's funny today. It was a beautiful day at practice today. I mean, it was just wonderful, and we kind of didn't practice well. We started getting into this war of attrition, and a couple guys starting to get banged up a little bit, so we kind of going a little bit slow. I was disappointed in this weekend. It's one of those games where as you grow as a program, you just tend to win those games. I never had any doubt that we weren't going to win this weekend, and we just came up a little bit short. We did do some good things. Now, I thought this offensive line played their best football game. We ran the ball well. Ryan Griffin was playing sensational. He threw for 377 or 360 something, another. He had a couple touchdowns. I think those receivers playing fantastic. Shackelford and Grant played good games. All those guys played well. Darkwood finally played. He was in and out a little bit injured throughout the game, but he played well. I think defensively, the disappointing thing about the offense is we got to get the ball in the end zone, in the red zone. I thought the turnover really hurt us, but we just got to get that. We got to get right over this little hump that we're going up. We've been playing uphill all this time, and now we got to get over the hump. I thought defensively, we didn't tackle well early on in that game. Our tackling was shoddy at best. And today we kind of addressed it a little bit. And a couple of times we were out of position. We had some young guy mistakes. But other than that, the second half I thought the defense came out, gave us a chance to win. And, this week we just didn't get it done.
If you have a question, please raise your hand.
On what is it just the ankle still that he's in and out of the game?
Yeah, he is. These ankle sprains. If you think about it, it was a high ankle sprain. It was a bad sprain, so he will play 3 or 4 plays, and then all of a sudden he comes out for the ankle. Again, he has to just let it, I guess, calm down a little bit. But he played well besides that. But we just don't have him all the time. It's hard because every time I look up, you want him, and then he's in the back just trying to get it stretched out or get it straightened out.
That final offensive possession,
Mm-hmm.
there was a series, I think there were 3 incomplete passes at the end. I wasn't,
Yes.
we were listening to the game on the radio, it wasn't on TV. What happened there? I know one of the balls was tipped. Were they good passes? It just weren't
One of them was tipped, one of them was dropped, and then at the end of the game, we had one down the field shot that the guy came out and he kind of made a play on the ball that you never would have thought he would have made. I thought it would just be one of those good catches, or over the shoulder catch. It was a little bit underthrown. I thought the receiver should have came back and went up for the ball, and the guy just didn't even look. He just put his hand up and he tipped it away. Now that's how the game ended.
And then, when you look at this UAB program, you look at Garrett, you guys have had kind of a similar trajectory. Do you see the similarities in the program, kind of where you guys are at? A little bit about me, you guys being at this point.
Well, I think they're a good football team. Matter of fact, my nephew plays for them. So, I got to say this or my sister will kill me. But they're a good football team. They have some skilled guys. They have some JC transfers in there that are making some differences. And I think they're good. They're explosive. They're fast. They're a good football team. The record doesn't indicate the same thing. I mean, most of the new head coaches in this league are struggling a little bit, just taking over, getting ready to take over these programs. Is just struggling, but I think they're a good football team.
How great you players play at the offensive line. Basically, the first 5 games, you're trying to put down and on.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm saying each week I felt if anybody on our football team, any position groups, are beginning to take strides into forming up, I think that's the group. And I think one thing about those guys, not one time I could ever say they quit. Not one time I could ever see them blaming each other. I don't think they're a very confident group, and confident comes from playing more games. But I think they're starting to play well. They played physical. There was a series there where I had to tell EP, and I'm a receiver coach at heart, I said, hey, we just got to run it. Just keep running it. And I mean, they were just knocking them down. And then, we got to the end and got the turnover. But I thought they did a fantastic job.
We'll just read body language here today. You look like you were still genuinely disappointed about that.
The biggest disappointment I think is that, this war of attrition that we're going through, we're starting to lose more guys. Wormsley a little bit today couldn't go. We had Zach Davis couldn't go. We had, just here and there, we're starting to lose our little bit of confidence that we had because we got guys not being able to practice. It's not that they don't want to practice, they just can't go. And I'm just a little bit concerned about, when you start talking about, starting a lot of freshmen. Monroe could start because he can do something else. Doss and Baptiste been playing sensational. But you start starting more freshmen in an offense and defensive line, then I begin to get a little bit concerned.
When you have Kenny Wilson in there with Corey, which is kind of what he did at practice with Julius, kind of sideline, what does that, are they versatile enough for one of them to pick up the 3-tech position and play it well?
You know what, I hope so. It's just Julius is probably our most active defensive lineman. He may be the best overall defender that we have, just being consistent, being big enough, being physical enough, and then he's like the emotional leader. You lose him, we lose Jax a little bit, then you lose Zach Davis a little bit. That's probably your core guys in the middle of your defense besides, your secondary. So we just got to hope that we can get Julius back, and I think he'll be better tomorrow. And then Welcome and Red Wine are doing a fantastic job, but it's hard to ask a kid, young guys that never played much to say, okay, now all of a sudden you're playing 3 technique. It's like asking the guy, okay, now you're playing quarterback this week. It's like, oh my goodness. So.
If you're looking at a quarterback that's kind of on the rise,
Mm-hmm.
that redshirt freshman that
Mm-hmm.
has played remarkably in the last few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
has anything that you've seen on film worked, sort of competing him and kind of interrupting what he likes to do?
You know what I think they do is they do a good job of running the ball. So because that back is a pretty good back, they got a couple good receivers. So what he's doing the best is he's spreading it around. I think we just got to begin to win the beginning of the first downs. So what I'm saying is we get to 2nd and 10 or we can get to 2nd and 7. We got a good chance of containing it. But if we let it be, if it's 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 5, then I think we'll be in trouble.
Is there some measure of progress that more this discipline coming off the win or something like a loss, or was this close? In the first 2 games, really, it was not disappointing. It was pretty much over.
Right.
Is it progress for your program that just hurts?
Yeah, it's that, and I want these guys to experience success. I think the coaches work extremely hard and they prepare them very well. I think the young men, these players now, a lot of them hadn't played much, and I'm disappointed for them because I want them to feel a success because they've worked. I mean, we've asked them to come early in the morning and practice early and do some things a little bit different in their life, and I mean, they've done all of it. I just want them to feel, hey, let's get on a little bit of a roll and let's win a couple games so they can just feel like, hey, feel good about themselves. It's hard to build confidence if you're not winning games.
Does it stay a little bit more because of the way you finish against SMU and to not be able to
Well, yeah, that, and it just stings because whenever you feel the one that got away, this was the one that I felt you're going in to score, we turn it over, then you're going in to score again, you settle for a field goal, you got a penalty, and then you got the ball in your hand, the defense get the turnover for you, and you just don't finish it off. We just gotta learn to finish those things off. Well, I think one thing what gives us an identity a little bit is our quarterback. Our quarterback has a good swagger. I mean, he understands. I think we play offensively. We play very confident with our quarterback. So as long as he's playing well, I think offensively, as you noticed the last couple of weeks, we've been a little bit more up tempo. We've been doing some no huddle stuff that's been tremendous for us because that's what he does. He's our quote unquote Drew Brees. But I think defensively, we playing with a lot of young kids, and I think I like Dorian Monroe. Now he is something else now. So he is one of the guys that I'm kind of leaning to him to. It's hard to ask a freshman to be a leader, but I think he's the guy that's he makes 12 tackles, he makes 13 tackles, he makes 9 tackles. We got to get more guys like him to play like him. And I think we will have a great identity.
From game 1 to game 7, do you think you made progress? If so, what specific areas, you elaborate on what specific areas do you think you made progress? And you said it was not going to be split to marathon, long-term project. So can you tell us where you're at this point?
Well, I think this. I think first and foremost, I think our special teams are playing really outstanding. I think that's the one thing that I felt coming into this thing that we had to play to give us a chance to win. They are playing outstanding. Now that we have the quarterback with some experience, I think our offense is beginning to look like it will look. The offensive line from day one, we said we had 4 guys that never played, that never touched the field before the year before. These 4 guys are starting to gel and play good. We get Darkwa back, we getting some running backs back. We're starting to run the ball better. I don't know if there's a guy that there are too many guys that'll have receivers like Shackelford and like Grant. So they've been doing some good things, sprinkled along with the young kids. So offensively, I'm very pleased. Defensively, you look back, you start in the back end. I mean, we're playing 3 true freshmen, and they not really giving up very many plays. So for them to play enough, they're doing well. We found Zach Davis. You go back, you say, hey, last spring you tell me Zach Davis would be a starter and playing this well. There is no way I would say that, but he's one of the guys that you lean on. I think the defensive line playing good. They're starting to get some pressure. They're starting to get some sacks. They're starting to get around the quarterback. So yeah, I think we are developing. But the disappointing part about it is as soon as you begin to develop and you begin to get some continuity, another guy goes out.
Collectively, we're starting to stop it. And I know that, of course, the goal is to get this team to a bowl game. That's not so long.
Right.
As you go over halfway through the season, what's your goal now?
You know what? I think this. I think the biggest thing is to develop this culture like we're doing, is to develop these young men in understanding that, hey, they not quitting. I can't say, and I would love to stand up here and do like some coaches say, well, this guy we quit, we did that. I have not seen him quit one time. So you're developing what you want. Sometimes, you don't get to the goal. I remember in 06 and 07, we thought we were going to win the Super Bowl. In 07, we didn't play well, but 07 and 08 for us at the Saints developed us into winning the Super Bowl the following year. So I would say we are starting to develop a culture. I mean, you watch us, we fighting hard, guys in the right place, guys are making plays, we're playing a lot of young kids. So you saying how are we developing or how are we playing? I like where we are, except for the record.
We talked a little bit about this earlier this morning, but with Justin Shackelford not able to really practice fully, he's a guy who's given you something every game this season. I mean, he's been, your most consistent receiver, and, I know you're looking at Xavier Rush, right, or Xavier Rush behind him. Is it good that you've been hitting more targets in the last few games, that kind of soften the blow, or?
Well, I think with the quarterback here, we can kind of do it we can do it a little bit by committee now without Shackelford, which will be fine. And I'm not saying Shackelford is out. He didn't do anything today. I just like guys to practice on Tuesday. But we could definitely do it by committee. I got a lot of confidence in Carmadale. I got a lot of confidence in Van Hoosier. I'm pretty confident in quarterback and Rush. Mark Edwards, he's made some plays. So because we played a variety of guys, I feel pretty good about the receivers.
Coach, what's your take on, you just mentioned it a few minutes ago, all of judo guys and UAPs. And you're in the league, there's a lot of that.
Well, I think this. I think the doors may open up to get some JUCO guys. It's just you got to get the right JUCO guys to come in and give us some immediate help. If you can get them, the problem is you got to get them in school. You got to, in this academics here, it's pretty challenging. So sure, you love to do it, but I don't know if this would ever be a JUCO program. But you'd like to get 1 or 2 guys that can help you at some positions that you lose guys at, that you lose guys. Yeah, well, we've talked about, if we can get the right ones in here, Rick and some of the other powers that be said, we got to definitely take a look at them. So we're doing that. I've been kind of pushing that a little bit, and they are receptive to it.
So, there's a thought.
Go.
Would that be something that would affect this year's signing class, or is that something in the future?
Well, I think right now, what we got to do is we just got to look at and see who can qualify and who can do it. And if we can get some guys that can qualify, I'm gonna try to beat the doors down and get them, get some help as soon as we possibly can.
A lot of programs
Well, it's just it's a huge advantage because, I mean, we playing guys 17 years old, 17, 18 years old. Those guys coming out of JUCO are 20 years old. I mean, it's just that they've played more football. They've played, at least 10, 12 games of college football, where some of our guys, it's unfortunate that, our guys are good players, but they just hadn't played it. They hadn't had the experience. You can fill a guy in with some experience. You can fill a guy in, and you may get a great dominant player also.
I forgot to follow up on this. Is Kenny more of a natural welcome, more of your natural three? If you have to plug that hole, is it him other than Corey and them?
Yeah, you know what? I think both of those guys. If you look at them and you say, okay, what are they? They both are one techniques. Now, one guy is, I think Redwine is a little bit more explosive than Welcome. Welcome is a little bit more savvy. So you'd probably say the savvy guy would be the 3, because the 1 definitely has to hold a point. So you just got to hope that, you hope that both of them can support us in doing both of those jobs.
It's still, I talked to Kenny today. He's like, I didn't play much last year against UAP. I forget that, this is a guy who's new to, his A position, and he's being asked to play a B position.
And that's the hard thing about, I guess that's the hard thing. As soon as you get one guy out of the mix, it's another guy that never done it before. He hadn't done anything before. So now you're trying to catch up. And the guys you're playing against, look, they played, they've had like 10, 12 starts.
Any more questions?
Thank you guys.